this utopian Marxist idea?
Yes, I think so, because it looks like, and this is another point I was making that didn't get covered in the article, although I wrote about it somewhat extensively on my blog, is that societies tilt towards monogamy across the world. It's human universal. Now, that doesn't mean that people don't have polygamous or polyamorous tendencies, because they certainly do. And it's certainly also the case that one of the ways that women gerrymander this system is that, like, the number of children who are in a, say you're married and you have children with your husband, but you also have an affair. And so you have a child by another man. That's more common than anyone suspected. So part of the way that women solve the problem that you're just describing, and I'm not saying anything for this or against this, this is a purely factual biological claim, is they pick a monogamous marriage and they cheat with high status guys. Now, you know, obviously in the confines of the marriage, that's a terrible thing, but...
That's a very uncomfortable subject, though, for women in particular.
Well, it's an uncomfortable subject for everyone.
Right, but
it's a terribly uncomfortable subject.
They don't like the idea that this is a common thing, that women choose a safe man that is willing to be monogamous with them, and perhaps maybe they're above him in a social class or in sexually, and then they'll cheat with someone who is above them.
It's common, but it's not the norm. Right, it's still the norm not to do that. The norm is fidelity.
Right.
But there's plenty of exceptions.
And this is enforced monogamy, culturally, the norm. This is the very definition of it.
Well, enforced monogamy is this. It's like, okay, so my son's getting married in September. And so let's say he comes to me in a year and he says, hey, Dad, guess what? I've had 3 affairs in the last year and they've all been successful. I haven't got caught. Aren't I a good guy? What am I going to say to that? No. What the hell are you doing? That's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's enforced monogamy.
Enforced monogamy meaning the people around you try to guide them in a way that you think is going to lead to a harmonious family life.
It's built deep into the cultural norms, and if that starts to destabilize, then there's trouble. And that doesn't mean that it's not prone to all the problems that you laid out. Look, there isn't a bigger problem than successful reproduction. It is the big problem. And all of the solutions that we've generated for it are full of flaws. Like, here's an example. The gender pay gap. Okay, there's no gender pay gap. There's a mother gap. There's other reasons too, but women really take a hit when they become mothers. Okay, that's unfair. Fair enough, man. What the hell are you going to do about it?
It's not just that, though, right? And this is what also, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but this is what's one of the things that I wanted to bring up, but I kind of lost track of it. The misrepresentation of you mirrors the misrepresentation of the gender pay gap, because it's a convenient misrepresentation that upon further inspection and understanding, you realize there is no gender pay gap. The gender pay gap, when people discuss it that don't understand it, and I've had these conversations with really intelligent people that just listen to what's in the news or read some very quick article talking about this problem that we have, and they assume that a man and a woman are working the same job, but the woman is unfairly paid 79 cents to the man's dollar. That's not the case.
It's not even close to the case.
The case is women choose different professions that don't pay as much. They work less hours, and they oftentimes get married and have children. And because they have children, they take paternity leave, and they make less money. And they make less money because of that. So
there's about 10 reasons or 20 reasons for the gender pay gap.
Right.
One of them being motherhood, but there's a whole slew of them.
But